What if the most powerful weapon in human history was not a sword, a gun, or an army, but a piece of paper? Not because it had value, but because we were told it did. Today, paper money decides who eats, who rules, who works, and who waits. But it did something far more dangerous than controlling wealth. It replaced power with permission. At some point in history, humans stopped asking who has the strength and started asking who has the right. That shift changed everything. This is not a story about money as currency. This is a story about money as authority, about how paper replaced force, and why the system still depends on our belief to survive. For most of human history, power was simple and visible. If you controlled land, weapons, food, or armies, you ruled. Kings did not need permission. Empires did not need trust. Authority was enforced, not agreed upon. Gold and silver existed, but they were tools, not systems. They represented stored labor and scarcity. They did not rule societies. Rulers did. Money followed power. It did not create it. But as civilizations grew larger, something changed. Empires expanded faster than armies could travel. Trade crossed borders rulers could not patrol. Violence became expensive. Control needed a new method, and that method had to be quiet. The earliest paper money did not appear as currency. It appeared as a promise. In ancient China, merchants began depositing heavy coins with trusted houses. In return, they received paper receipts. These papers said the value exists. You don't need to carry it. At first, the paper was optional. The value still lived in metal. But rulers were watching. They realized something revolutionary. If people accept paper as if it were value, then power no longer needs to carry gold. It only needs belief. The first true danger of paper money was not inflation. It was abstraction. Value became invisible. Control became psychological. Europe learned this lesson centuries later. Goldsmiths stored gold for elites and issued notes in return. Over time, people stopped redeeming the notes. They traded the paper instead. The gold stayed locked away. The paper moved freely. Then came the critical shift. Goldsmiths realized they could issue more paper than gold. As long as not everyone asked for redemption at once, the illusion held. This was the birth of fractional reserve banking. Money no longer represented value. It represented confidence. And confidence could be managed. States quickly understood the opportunity. Wars were expensive. Taxes were unpopular. But paper could be printed. For the first time, rulers could fund power without directly extracting it. Paper money did not replace gold. It replaced accountability. The true transformation happened when governments made paper money mandatory. Legal tender laws forced people to accept paper for debts and taxes. Refusal was no longer an option. At that moment, money stopped being a medium of exchange. It became a command. You no longer earned value. You were granted access. Work no longer connected directly to resources. It connected to permission slips issued by institutions. Power shifted again. From strength to systems. From ownership to access. From force to compliance. And compliance felt peaceful. That was the genius. Every paper system eventually faces the same test. What happens when trust breaks? History gives the same answer again and again. Ancient China printed too much. Medieval Europe debased coins into paper equivalents. Revolutionary France collapsed. Weimar Germany drowned in hyperinflation. The pattern is always identical. Paper promises grow faster than real value. The system survives until it doesn't. But something changed in the modern era. Instead of collapse, governments learned how to delay consequences. Central banks were born. Central banks did not exist to protect people. They existed to stabilize confidence. Interest rates became behavioral tools. Inflation became policy. Debt became permanent. Money was no longer tied to anything physical. Not gold, not labor, not scarcity. In 1971, the final anchor was cut. Paper money became pure permission. Its value now depended entirely on government authority, institutional trust, and public belief. And belief could be engineered. This new system changed human behavior. People stopped asking, is this valuable? They started asking, is this allowed? Debt became normal. Savings lost meaning. Time itself was monetized. Work no longer built security. It maintained access. The middle class expanded, then hollowed out. Wealth concentrated not through force, but through rules. Inflation quietly transferred value upward. Asset holders benefited. Wage earners fell behind, and because no one pointed a gun, it felt natural. Paper money didn't oppress. It normalized dependency. Every generation tries to fix the system. New regulations, new currencies, new promises, but the structure remains unchanged. Because the problem is not corruption. It is design. Paper money requires continuous growth, continuous trust, and continuous obedience. Any attempt to fix outcomes without changing the foundation fails. Digital money didn't fix it. Cashless systems didn't fix it. Even crypto didn't escape the psychology. Because the real currency was never paper. It was belief. Today, money moves faster than thought. Trillions are created digitally. Debt exceeds global productivity. Work feels endless. Security feels temporary. We are richer than any generation before us, and more anxious than ever. Because permission is fragile. Access can be revoked. Accounts can be frozen. Rules can change overnight. Power used to be visible. Now it is procedural, and the most powerful force is no longer violence. It is compliance. Money is not value. It is authority. Permission is more controlling than force. Systems don't need to be evil to be dangerous. They only need to be unquestioned. If money only works because we believe in it, what happens when belief weakens? History suggests the answer is not reform. It is replacement. Not necessarily by something better, just something new. Paper money did not make humans weaker. It made power invisible. And invisible power is the hardest to challenge. The question is no longer whether the system works. The question is, who does it work for? And who is still asking permission? If this story changed the way you see money, power, or control, share it with someone who still believes money is neutral. Subscribe. Money did not replace gold. It replaced responsibility and called it stability. When value became permission, power no longer needed to shout because obedience did the work silently. The most dangerous systems are not enforced by violence, but maintained by belief. Paper money did not fail because humans were greedy. It succeeded because humans complied. And the real question is no longer how money works, but who controls the right to say yes. Subscribe for more deep explorations into finance, history, and hidden systems. Because the most important truths are never announced loudly. They are simply accepted quietly.